Achievers, hope you're doing well today. So wanted to make this video because I had somebody on the team call me today actually, and said they were on the team call last night and they just really got inspired. And I wanted to talk to you about belief, and because you guys got to believe in yourselves. And I don't know what you've been through in your past, but I would probably be the last person that you would think that would ever be able to believe in themselves after, the way that I was raised. And, my mom did a very good job of raising me, but my father always told me that I would never, amount to anything. I would never have success without him, that I wouldn't be successful. And, that hurt. I carried that on for a while. I do forgive him, and I did forgive him, but, it took a while. And, I felt like a failure. I felt like I should have did so many other things and made so many other decisions. And I know that a lot of us are hard on ourselves, but, and I could have made any excuse that I wanted to. I had so many excuses that I could have used of why I couldn't or shouldn't have been successful, or I could have said, well, my dad didn't believe in me, that's why. Or I could have used anything, just like any one of you can use anything. But I decided, just like you should decide, not to let anything affect you. Not to have anything stop you from what you want. And why not believe in yourselves? I mean, I really want you to think about this for a second. There are people, whether you believe it or not, that have worse situations than you, have been raised worse, and have had way more harmful things happen in their lives and succeed with Melaleuca, which is the greatest company on the planet. There's not one company that's better, and if you think there is, or anybody thinks it, they can talk to me. But think about this, is there are so many people that have hit a corporate director or national director, executive director, that had way worse stories than any one of us, and they did it. All different ages. All they did was they used their or excuse or how they were raised as fuel to become successful. And how are you using that fuel? Are you just going to be how most people will be, and they say, well, there's so many reasons, and you try to validate it and that's it? Or are you going to be the person that says, because I was raised like that, because I had the life like that, because, all the things that happened, that's why I should be successful? And I don't know if you ever heard the saying where two men sat behind prison bars, one saw mud, the other saw stars. It's all in how you look at it. It's all in perception. There was a story about two brothers, and their dad was very abusive, and he was an alcoholic. And to pretty much sum up the story, they were raised, incredibly bad. And they went up to one son and they said, well, that son was in jail, and he grew up just like his father. And they asked him, they said, well, sir, why are you in jail? What happened? He said, with the life that I lived, the way that I was raised, the way that my father raised me, how could I have turned out any different? With the way that my daughter acted, there was no other reason why. I mean, of course it was because of that. They asked the other son, who was actually turned out to be very successful, and they said, well, what happened with you? He said, with a father like mine, how could I have not have turned out like this? He used all that to make something of it. And I'm going to tell you what, 5, 10, 15, 20 years is going to go by, and it's either you're going to use those excuses as fuel, or you're going to use those reasons forever, and you're going to turn back one day, and you're not going to be able to blame anybody. You might be able to have those excuses and blame everything else, but you're not going to be further ahead in your life. You're not going to accomplish the goals that you want. So what's the point in using the excuses? See, I had every reason in the world not to be able to do what I wanted to do or to be successful, but I choose otherwise. Now, when you make the decision that you don't want to be hurt anymore, you don't want to be struggling, or you want to be able to succeed and you want to move forward, what's the next steps that you do? Because you have a choice now since you really don't want to do it, and that's many reasons why you chose to be a part of Melaleuca. But what else you got to do now? You got to grow. You got to do what's called personal development. You got to get the education now to move yourself forward and get you to where you want to be. Just like my wife and I had to do. We chose that we wanted to make some changes, and we decided to read and educate ourselves. We didn't know how to be leaders. We knew that we cared about others. And here's a big thing as a leader. You got to care more about others than you care about yourself. And if you really don't, that's why you need to grow, and that's what you need to do. That's not step number one. Number two, you need to be a servant leader, and you got to be willing to go the distance for your team. Not for yourself. You got to be willing to go the distance for your team. Now, if you can adapt those two things, now it's education. Now, how do you learn to become better? You read. There is a book that I read, one of my first books, called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Again, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. There's another book that I read that really changed my life, is because I actually thought that having a lot of money was bad subconsciously. And, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind really helped me. There's another book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. If you've never read it, never heard of it, read it. There's another book that I've read a lot, but I'm going to give you some suggestions. 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. Here's another one by John Maxwell. The 5 Levels of Leadership. Here's another one by John Maxwell. Is the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. That will teach you why you need to grow. And see, you'll never be able to be a level 10 leader if you're only doing level 2 skills. I mean, of course you're going to be able to make money. Of course you're going to be able to make a residual. Of course you're going to be able to pay your bills. But some of you listening to this want to have a team that where you get paid $5, $10, $15, $20,000 a month in residual income, $50,000 a month, and whatever you want to make. But in order to go to that distance, you need to do certain and have certain skills. There's another book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. So now I've read out a lot of books to you, okay? And what would I encourage you to do? Number one is I would decide to buy all those books, but if you need to buy one at a time, that's cool. And what should you do every day? I know that we have a lot of things going on. We got family, we got all these things. Again, we can use them as excuses or we can use them as fuel. So what's something I would suggest you to do is when you wake up in the morning, before you get out of bed, or even after you brush your teeth, or if you go to the gym or whatever your thing is, before you start touching your phone, before you go to work, read just 5 pages. Just 5 pages. If you can read 10, do 10, but just read 5 to 10 pages. And you won't believe after a while, every day of doing that, 5 days a week or even every day, you'll finish the book in no time.